Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to replace the battery on this Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon 3rd generation. Right, we're going to be using a PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver, and we're just going to undo all the screws here. Okay, you want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like this on my desk, and the pattern I remove them. Okay. Alright, that screw actually seems to stay in there even after you unscrew it. So let's see. Actually, I think a lot of these are going to end up staying in there. I think they're designed to actually stay attached to the case. So keep that in mind. For some reason, this one on the far left stayed or came out. So anyways, we're going to just undo all the screws. Of course, make sure your computer is off if you didn't already. Okay, and then now you can see the case just comes up like that. So this one actually seems very easy to remove. There's a lot of dust in here, so I'm going to have to clean that up real quick actually. Okay, so let me go do that and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back, cleaned it out. Alright, here you can actually see how the screws are holding themselves into place. So they have these little split ring washer there holding it in place. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's go ahead now and take out the old battery. So again, we're still using the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. Again, keep all the screws in order. Okay, so it looks like there's one on each corner and one in the center here. Alright, and then we got one on each corner down here. Alright, so now that we got all those 5 screws, let's see if we can lift the battery out. Okay, so we can lift the battery. We're going to disconnect this cable here. Let me actually zoom in so you can see better. Alright, you can actually also see the battery model numbers here. Okay, let's go ahead and get this out. So usually what I like to do is I like to use my fingernails to kind of wiggle this connector like that. Alright, and there we go. Okay, and here we go. We got the battery out. This thing is semi-inflated, so you can see how it's bad. Here you got the battery model numbers here. Okay, I don't know if there's any other model numbers. Let's see. Yeah, I think those are the main model numbers. Okay, so we're gonna set the old battery aside. Here you can actually see the keyboard connectors here. It has a little flip latch. Most of these connectors are like push down connections. You have this connector here for the speakers. Okay, the wire runs underneath this board, runs to this speaker, then that wire goes to the other speaker over here. Let me actually zoom out a bit. Alright, you got the touchpad or trackpad connector here. It runs along here and then connects up to here. Okay, I don't know if it's connecting anything else. I think this has, yeah, it has the little moving trackpad thing in the middle, but I think that actually goes to the keyboard. Not too sure. You got this small cable here. I believe that's for, is that for the SD card slot? What is this? Fingerprint sensor? Okay, that's for the fingerprint sensor. So this little cable here is for the fingerprint sensor, which is underneath here. USB port here with these little push down connectors. Alright, there's this little reset button here, which is kind of like a BIOS or CMOS reset. And there's this little hole here that you can actually use a needle or a pin to press on that. If you need to reset your BIOS or your computer isn't starting up, try pressing and holding this button for about 15 seconds. That might help. Okay, fan connector is right here. You have a lot of connectors going into the screen. I'm not sure what's for what, but you got this small one here and this small one here. Okay, you got this larger one here, and then you got this. This is most likely for the LCD LVDS. This is most likely for the camera, and then I don't know what these small ones are for. Maybe for the little lights and stuff that show up like on this little ThinkPad light here and stuff. Alright, I'm guessing this is the keyboard backlight connector. But again, I'm not 100% sure because I'm not going to be completely disassembling it. But I don't see any other cable that looks like for the keyboard backlight, so pretty sure that's keyboard backlight. If you want, you can experiment with it, but I'm not going to mess around with that. And then you got the wireless card here, wireless antennas here, and you got a M.2 SATA SSD here. I don't know if it supports M.2 PCIe NVMe or not. There's just one screw, then the SSD will pop up slightly and you can pull it out. If you're not sure how to do that, you can watch my other videos. I make a lot of videos taking apart computers. This one I don't want to mess with it because the only thing the customer needed is the battery. RAM is soldered to the motherboard here, and then CPU is underneath here, also soldered to the motherboard. Okay, so that's pretty much all I'm going to show in here. Let's go ahead now and just replace the battery. So basically, you just get a replacement one. That's the same thing. If it has some plastic or something on it, you want to peel that stuff off. You don't want to leave this kind of stuff on there. Okay, so we'll peel that off. All right, then we'll get this lined up. You want to make sure the connector goes the same way. So the original connector, you can see black wires are going to the heatsink side, and then the red wires are going towards the SSD and wireless card. So you want to make sure it goes the same direction. Okay, let me double check and make sure the battery is the same. Okay, looks to be about the same. All right, and yeah, 3.3 amp hours. This one's a little bit less amps, but 15.2 volts, 51 watt hours. This is 50 watt hours. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and reconnect this. Okay, just push that into place, make sure all the pins line up and it goes in. Okay, I don't know if it's going in all the way. Let me double check the connector to see if it looks like the same size, same style. Okay, it looks to be, so I don't know why this one, okay, let's see here. So this one, when I get that in, you can actually see the pins go all the way in underneath, but the replacement one for some reason doesn't go as far, so we'll see. Okay, let's take a look. The pins all look fine. Okay, let's go ahead and get this in. Okay, there we go. Okay, I just had to push it a bit harder, right? It usually helps to kind of pinch the two pieces together like this. There we go. Then we're just going to get this all lined up just like before and get the screws in. Okay, and this cable, it won't, it does have to go slightly at an angle like that. Okay, we're going to get these bottom screws in first. All right, just like that. Get the other screw in. Just make sure it lines up. Okay, I'm going to undo the screw a little bit so I can make sure it lines up properly. It's a little bit too much to the left. Okay, so I can kind of push this over. There we go, and get that in. Good. Now I'll tighten this down. Let's zoom out a tiny bit more. Okay, we'll get the central screw in. Okay, and then we'll get these screws as well. Top corner, so this one's also a little bit out of line, so I have to kind of push it over a little. All right, we can get that. Then we'll get this one in, and we should be good to go. So make sure all the screws are in nice and tight. Okay. There's actually a case intrusion switch here, so when the case is open, it might not turn on properly, so we're going to go ahead and put the cover back on first. Okay, so we'll use this for the thumbnail. Okay, let's go ahead now and get this back in. You want to get the bottom half in first because it has little tabs, and then we're going to slowly tighten them from the bottom up. That way the cover can slowly drop down into place. Okay, just like this. Alright, tighten this one. And if you noticed, I twist the screws backwards first until I hear a click, and then I go ahead and tighten them in. Alright. Okay, make sure this is not clipping in right. Okay, get the screw in. Tighten that down. Good. Alright. Make sure that's nice and tight, and the last screw, and then we're just going to power it up, make sure everything's working, and we should be good to go. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip this over and see what we got. Okay, I just noticed their screen has a big crack shatter here. Okay, so I saw the power light come on for a second. I might have to plug it in. So I'm going to power it on. This light is lighting up green. And there we go. The screen is coming on. It says check date and time. I believe it uses the main battery as the CMOS or BIOS battery. So keep that in mind. All right. We'll wait for this thing to boot up completely. Oh, I couldn't even see that crack from here. Interesting. So you can actually see. All right. Anyways, we're gonna now go ahead and restart the computer. Exit without saving changes. If you want, you can set the date and time in here. Oops, I'm gonna press escape to continue so it can actually boot up instead of F1. You can actually set the date and time in Windows as well, but here you can see it's booting, so that should be good. Alright, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's drop this. Bye.